Hello everyone, I'm Dean Kelley with the Georgia Transparency Coalition, and we're visiting today with Shannon Whitfield, our Walker County Board of Commissioners Chairman, and we're here on top of Lookout Mountain in Walker County at McLemore. This has turned out to be, this is the first time I've been up here in a while. This is a beautiful, beautiful resort. Walker County is very fortunate to have it. Thank you, Shannon, for being with us.
Sure, absolutely. It's great to be back with you again.
Yeah, it is. It's a great for us to visit again. And it was Shannon's idea that we come up here to McLemore, which is a great idea. Because like I said, I haven't been up here for a while. So kind of give us an update on what's going on up here.
Well, it's just been amazing, really, what's taking place here, because the vision up here just keeps getting bigger. Everything that they said they were going to do, they're either working on it or have already done it, but they're doing even more than what we'd ever imagine. And, you know, they have gotten a lot of national and probably international recognition on this facility. And it's just amazing to just know here in Walker County that one of the best golf courses in America now is here in Walker County. And, you know, back last year, Golf Digest magazine named the McLemore 18th hole as one of the best finishing holes in golf since the year 2000. And that was just amazing. And so there's been a lot of focus in the golf community about the quality of this golf course, and people come into our community now because they want to come here as a destination. And that was one of the goals that the McLemore team had, was to make this a destination. And it's just surprising how quick that happened.
It's busy up here today,
and there's a big demand. They have they can't get the hotel built fast enough, and they're working to get that done now, but they're doing a lot of short-term rentals. A lot of the homeowners are short-term renting their houses out, so there's a lot of people that they're able to book in up here to come and play and stay in short-term rentals. So it's creating quite a bit of economic value and growth to our community that most people are just not aware of.
Yeah, exactly. And I also noticed that if you have to be a member up here, but they also have a Friends of McLemore opportunity where if you're here locally and you want to play golf, you can come here several times a year and play. You don't have to become a full member to do that. So I think that's a great asset too. Give people an opportunity to come up here and see what's going on and what an asset this is for Walker County.
Yeah, it's quite amazing, the new clubhouse and restaurant that they've built. People from the community can come up here and eat. They ask for people to have a reservation, so they make sure they create a really good experience for you and have plenty of help and food and everything. And then they're doing some events on Thursday nights where they're having outdoor music. Oh, wow. You can buy tickets for that. You can find that on their website or call up here also. So they're doing a lot of really cool, neat things. This music event they're having every Thursday where they're having different artists come in and play outside, and where people can sit around and enjoy music and enjoy the restaurant. And so they've just been very, very creative. And I know, as we noticed coming in, there's a lot of construction going on. There's houses being built, foundations going in. So it's really a robust situation up here right now. Yeah,
and I think about half of the population of the United States was within just a few hours of this. I mean, you're a couple hours from Nashville, a couple hours from Atlanta, a couple hours from Knoxville. So a large part of the country.
That's a very interesting point, because that was one of the things that they liked about Walker County. When you look at Walker County on the map, and you look at the distances you indicate from Birmingham, Nashville, Knoxville, Atlanta, kind of right in the center of a 2-hour or so destination. And one of the cool things that a lot of people don't think about that they highly looked at, one thing that they loved about Walker County is there's not an interstate here.
Right.
And typically that's looked upon as a negative. Oh, well, you don't have an interstate, you're not going to grow, nothing's going to happen. But they loved it that we're close to interstates, the I-24, I-75, I-59 interchange. So it's easy to get to from the interstate, but you don't have the pollution of the interstate. And so I found that to be very unique when we first engaged with them about why they thought this was the destination where they wanted to be.
Yeah. Now the hotel is supposed to have, about 225 rooms, as I last heard about.
Well, it seems to be a moving target. Every time I think I know what the numbers is, it seems to be growing. So I know they are still tweaking those plans out. It's going to have a convention space where they can hold convention events. It's going to have a day spa. I think there's going to be a couple of restaurants. And so that's a work in progress of that design. So I don't know the exact number of room count, but I know it has grown quite a bit since they first started because they now see what the demand is.
Yeah, I can remember before. I think they were talking 185. Then next thing I heard, it was 225. So have any idea when the construction on that's going to start? Because like I said, they're in the middle of doing quite a bit up here right now. But
my understanding, they're hoping to get construction started this year.
that'd be great.
COVID was a setback for them a year. They wanted to have construction started last year on the actual hotel and convention center. That set them back, and so they just wanted to make sure the market conditions were right to put up that type of investment. And so I think we'll see them break ground this year.
Fantastic. So if you have an opportunity, if you just want to come up here and maybe have dinner or have lunch, you can certainly do that, or just come by and see what's going on. Because again, this is a great asset for Walker County, and we should be proud of it. And hopefully, it'll bring in a bunch of tax revenue as well for Walker County.
Yeah, it sure will.
But anyhow, we want to talk to Shannon. As you know, all of y'all out there are residents of Walker County. Walker County transitioned from a sole commissioner that had since before World War II to a board of commissioners. And what we want to talk about here for a few minutes is about this transition, because it really is a big deal, because there have been some counties that have attempted this transition who have had very much difficulty in doing that, and some even resorted back to going back to a sole commissioner. But in Walker County, everything seems to be doing well. So tell us about the transition. I know that a lot of people were concerned that it would be a very rough transition, but that there would be growing pains and everybody learning to get along with each other and cooperate with one another. But from everything that I've heard from the other commissioners and other folks, is the transition seems to be going very well, and we're 6 months in.
Yeah, it has really been smooth, and the cards were stacked against us, so to speak. But we had time to be able to analyze and to prepare, and also to look at the mistakes other communities had made. Because the last thing that I wanted to see happen is to get into a transition, have a new board come in, and then you have the infighting and the dysfunction, because it negatively impacts the citizens.
Sure.
And then you have people start saying, well, did we make the right decision to change to a board? Do we want to go back to a sole commission or something different? And then your government's in chaos for several years, and we wanted to keep that from happening. And so, the citizens voted in 2018 to make this transition effective 2021. So that give enough time to help get things in order as a county government, to stabilize our county and get a lot of things in order to, when the board come in, to give us an opportunity to have a good foundation, to be more financially sound, to prepare the staff of the transition. And so I think that time, some people thought that was a very slow process. Why was it not done immediately, or why did it not change in 2019? But I think looking back, having that time period for people to adjust, to know what's coming, to prepare for it, and also to learn from the other communities and the mistakes they made. And I had some of those people that I was able to communicate with and reach out to, and they shared with me privately some of the things they wish they'd have done differently, some of the things that they felt they did well, some of the things they wished they could have an opportunity to do over. And so that was very beneficial. But also too, I had been involved in a lot of other board situations in different capacities and different levels of leadership. Also, our water and sewer authority, that's a 5-person board. I've been the chair of that for 4 years plus now. And so I'd had a lot of personal experience working and collaborating as a board. So I knew that, as a board, we had to transition, and everything wasn't going to be my idea, and everything wasn't going to be 100%, and maybe way I'd have done it as a sole commissioner. But that's okay, because, we see things from different viewpoints. We have different experiences and backgrounds and knowledge. And, I know I don't always have the right answer too. So, it's very welcoming to bring in a board, because I knew we was bringing a lot more knowledge to the table. And I knew that was mainly what the citizens wanted. And so I felt like that it was my job as the former sole commissioner and now the chairman to lead that transition, because that's what 80+% of the citizens voted to do. And so that's the direction direction, the marching orders we had to work under, and so that's what we was going to get accomplished.
Well, one of the criticisms that I heard was that because we had the 4 districts and each one was elected in their own districts and not at large, as you, the chairman, was, is that each commissioner would be focused just on their district and not the county as a whole. I didn't think that was going to be an issue, and I don't think it's turned out to be that way either. Has
No,
it?
I'm not saying that at all. I think everyone really sees that we are one unified county, and everybody's got to work together, and there's a lot of strength. We have a good relationship with all of our local city governments and the leaderships within our different cities, because you can't do this solo. Even as a sole commissioner, if I hadn't have had strong partnerships with the city and other agencies and working with our state representatives and things, you can't get anything accomplished solo. So it takes a unified approach. It takes everybody working together, and you can't get caught up in just so-called blinders of just looking at one particular part of your community. And really, we need to be looking more as an entire market area. There's a lot of collaboration with us, even with our partners in Chattanooga. What they do affects us, what we do affects them, and so it's really bigger than our county. And so you've really got to think more on a regional level or a Chattanooga metro area, because everybody working together and everybody growing and developing helps everybody.
Well, I mean, there's actually been a region kind of created, what, the Thrive 2055 or whatever it's called, where you have 16 counties, I think it is, that encompasses that North Georgia, but also Southeast Tennessee and areas of Alabama as well, as you mentioned, that are focused on the entire area and is marketing the entire area, not just Walker County, or everybody collaborating in that. And of course, there's been some criticism of that, and that's something we want to keep an eye on. But as long as everyone can cooperate together, that's going to be beneficial for everyone.
I think too, one thing a lot of people don't realize is the way our sales tax system is. One example set up in Georgia. In Walker County, the way the system is set up is you share your sales tax amongst the county government and your city governments as well. So if something is built new, like recently there was a new Wendy's built in Chickamauga, that helps the entire county. That helps the city of Lafayette. That helps the city of Rossville, the city of Lookout Mountain, because everyone shares in a percentage of that sales tax. Even with McLemore here on the mountain, this is just as beneficial to our cities as it is the county, because we share in the total sales tax. And so the leadership of all of our city governments and county, everybody realizes and understands that. So when one part of our community has success, the whole county has success. It's not a turf war where, why did Wendy's go here and not somewhere else?
Sorry about that.
And so, it really creates an environment of unity because of your sharing in the taxes, and you're not fighting for those companies.
Yep, exactly. Going back to the Board of Commissioners again, a lot of these guys have never served public office before. I guess none of them have. Well, except for maybe, or they've worked for county government.
Well, Mark Askew, our District 2 rep, he served, I think, a couple of terms or so. I don't remember the exact number, as a Chickamauga City Council person. And then he also worked several years for county government in Walker County. And then District 1 Rep Robert Blakemore worked for county government. He worked in the Public Works Department for a period of time. And then our District 3 Rep, Brian Hart, worked for the city of Dalton, Whitfield County, worked in several departments there. And then Robert Stoltz was the physician assistant for the employee clinic of the county that was a shared joint venture with the city of Lafayette and for Walker County. So they've all had different flavors of involvement in local government. So, that was a strength. That was a benefit. I mean, that helped make the team stronger as a board because they all had some experience in different capacities. So we've got a good mixture. We're not like we all worked in one area of government or all come from city government or whatever. So it gives us a good balance.
Well, and plus you have continuing education. You guys just came back from Savannah with the ACCG. So there is continuing education that these commissioners can have. I imagine on any subject they need to know about, they can be educated on. So
Yeah, they offer through association training 2, sometimes 3 times a year on different topics, and they call it lifetime learning. And when I first heard that, I thought, okay, lifetime learning to be a commissioner. But when I got to looking at the curriculum and they started explaining how it works, the shortest class is a 6-hour class. So you go and that's a 1-day class. Some of the classes, like one I took last week, was on taxation and evaluations of property and tax assessment and your taxing authority, and also talked about tax commissioners and that whole tax process. That was a 12-hour course. That was a 2-day course. And so, like I say, the smallest one's 6 hours, the longest ones are 12 hours, and there's 96 classes.
wow.
So there's a lot to know and understand to be very effective. And so in 4.5 years, I think I'm approaching about 100 hours of training, and I'm just scratching the surface. And so, the first year in office, I didn't get to go to any training at all because I was just trying to hold on to the steering wheel and keep us out of the ditch. But, basically in the last 3.5 years, I've been able to get almost 100 hours, and there's still a long list of classes that I've not even had an opportunity to participate in because, again, they're only held 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of tax assessment, let's address that for a minute. A lot of people in Walker County have gotten their tax bills, and because the way the marketplace is right now in real estate prices are going through the roof. So quite a few people, I've been getting some phone calls, their tax bill has jumped 20 and 25%. That's because your real estate price is going up. But you want to elaborate on that, on how that works and where that comes from as far as that goes?
Yeah, I think the first thing people need to understand and realize is that what they received in the mail here in the last couple of weeks are the property tax assessment notices. It's the assessment of the value of that property. It's not actually the tax notice. It even says on there, this is not a bill. And by the state law, they have to use whatever the millage rate was last year. So that way you can pull out your tax bill from the previous year, look at your evaluations, look at your assessment notice this year, and see, how it compares. So once we get the digest submitted over to the Board of Commissioners, then the Board of Commissioners will make a decision on what the millage rate will be. So at this point, nothing has been decided. But what is happening, as you indicated, is there's been a great increase in value of all types of property and housing and building and construction costs are up. Heard this morning on the TV, there's roughly in the whole Chattanooga metropolitan MSA market, which includes Northwest Georgia, there's about 400 houses listed under real estate for sale.
That's right. There's a shortage of properties.
And they said that the medium price, the medium is like $475,000.
Wow.
And the average time that a house is listed on the market is like 22 days or less. And so there's just an overwhelming cycle that we're in here. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I learned at class of the day, they really took a deep dive into the regulations and the state policies that are in place for local government that they have to follow at the tax assessor's office. And so they have to stay within guidelines of tolerances of what the sales are. So when people say, well, the tax assessor's office increased my value of my property, that's really not what happened. What happened is the market price is dictating that. Mm-hmm. So there's comparable sales, and those sales are up. So the market values are up. And so they're just really chasing those numbers.
Right.
And so they have to stay within a 36 to 44% ratio on the entire digest. And if they don't, and that could be taking values up or taking values down, like happened in 2008, 2009. If they don't do that, then the Department of Revenue will not sign off on the digest, and then therefore they're not able to send out the tax bills, and it becomes a domino effect
right.
of bad news. And so the market's what's driving those evaluations, and the Board of Commissioners and also your local city government, city councils, no one has set their tax rates for this year. So that will be coming up over the next couple of months. And so, our goal has been the last 4 years is to try to keep our tax rates as flat as we could and as predictable as we could, so we don't have spikes up or down. And so we've really been able in a lot of ways to stabilize our local government. The economy is strong, and so I don't want people to freak out about those assessment notices, because the board will do the right thing in balancing the needs of the county government based off of the assessment notice total assessment digest that we get here in a few weeks.
And we'll see how that works out towards the end of the year. Well, like I said, there's a shortage of real estate pushing those prices up. I know that in my business, we're seeing people from all over the country that are moving to the greater Chattanooga area. I mean, they're coming from California, Oregon, Washington. They're coming from up north. Yeah. It reminds me of Atlanta 30 and 40 years ago, where they had such an influx of people from outside the state and certainly outside the local region. And we're having that here. So those are just the repercussions of that. And of course, we'll see what happens. Well, moving forward, what are going to be the priorities for the rest of the year? What are the big issues that you guys are working on? And
well, the citizens of Walker County just recently passed our SPLOST 1 cent sales tax, and we're very grateful for that, because a lot of those projects were designed to focus on public safety, and the board as a whole is very focused on that. We want to take what we already have from public safety and increase that, take it to the next level. We've got a 911 tower that will be under construction this year that should be finished by the end of the year to fill in a void that we have in our system that's been there for about 12 years. And so that's $1 million project that we're working with Motorola on. The SPLOST will allow us to buy some new fire trucks. We've been able to continue to work on our building infrastructure. A lot of our buildings were in bad shape and bad repair, so there's tax SPLOST dollars there to do that. Heavy equipment, mowers. I've really had a challenge over the last 4 years just with the roadside mowing, just because of some of the equipment failures that we've had. And so we've got new tractors on order that will be coming in later this year. There's just a backlog in all manufacturing, so it's going to take some time to get those. Also, other construction equipment, and that we needed. So we're really focusing on those things. Plus, also we have the American Rescue Funds that have come out, and we're still trying to get our minds of understanding of how to best invest those dollars into the community. And so there's information coming out every week from the Department of Treasury of how those dollars can be used. And that's a moving target at this moment. And I knew it would be, so I knew we didn't have to make any drastic or sudden moves there, because they're going to give us a period of 3 years to implement and invest those funds properly. So I know we've got some upgrades that need to be made to our jail. That's something I've been working with Sheriff Wilson on, and he's got some projects we're going to be presenting to the Board of Commissioners for approval on, that we need to make improvements in our jail system there as well. So just really that internal infrastructure where there had been quite a bit of neglect over several decades, that we now have between taking and managing our budgets well over the last 4 years, our SPLOST revenue that's coming in, and also these American Rescue Funds. We're really in a position that we can improve these areas that have been deficient, but we want to do it smart. We want to make sure we're investing these dollars, and we're not just spending money, but we're investing money, and we're very strategic about that. Also very excited this year because our continuation of our TSplost. We're paving 52 miles of roads this year, which I don't know if there's ever been a time in Walker County where there's been over 50 miles of road paved. And so we would not be able to do that if it hadn't been for the citizens back in 2017 voting and passing the TSplost. And so that is a major accomplishment for our community. And our road system, our state roads and our county roads every year continue to get better. And I go into some of the other communities over the state line, as we'll call it, and their roads are falling apart. So I'm happy to get back on the Georgia side, because really Georgia as a whole, and Northwest Georgia, our road system is improving every year. We're not deteriorating. We went through a phase where every year we were deteriorating. And so we paved about 38 miles of road last year, 52 miles this year. They got started last week. And so those roads are on our website. People can look at, and we've put the TSplost signs out so people will know and identify the roads that we're paving. Hopefully, inflation will stay moderate next year with petroleum prices, which is a big driver for paving.
And they've gone up lately.
But I'm hoping that, our county as a whole can continue to pave, hopefully maybe somewhere at least 40 miles of road a year, every year here going forward.
Yeah, because we have, over 700 miles?
I have just shy of 700 miles of road. And so even paving 40 miles of road a year, it's going to take a 12, 13-year cycle to get all the roads paved in the county.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things that if we don't do that annual maintenance and have that,
then you get in the hole.
Then you get in the hole, and you're deteriorating your infrastructure. And when you let it's just like your house. If you know your roof's bad and you replace it before it starts leaking, it's a lot less expensive.
Mm-hmm.
If you wait till it starts leaking and now it's messing up other things, well, that's kind of your road infrastructure is the same way. When you see the road starting to crack and worn and torn and it's 10, 12, 15 years old, you want to pave it before it gets into the base of the road, and then you're having to do the deep milling. And we've had to do quite a bit of that over the last 4 years, and we'll continue this year because we've got some road-based problems because some of these roads have not been paved in 25, 30, 40 years. And so we're playing catch-up.
How often should the roads be paved? Every 10 years or so?
Well, the way we're fixing them, where we're doing the deep paving and we're making sure we're putting 2 to 3 inches of asphalt in there, if we've got good base integrity, we ought to be able to get 15 plus years out of a road that's highly traveled. And then once we get more into your secondary roads, if you've again got a good base, get them sealed good, you can get maybe closer to 20 years out of a road before people start seeing that deterioration. But we're still playing catch up, and it's still going to take us probably another 3 or 4 years to get to the point where we feel like, okay, we're caught up. Now we can be more proactive in scheduling and planning roads, pretty much like the state does now. I mean, the state can tell you on any state road what roads they're going to be paving 3, 4, 5, 6 years out.
Right.
That's where we need to get to, where we're able to be that predictable about our infrastructure.
Okay. Well, folks, we've been visiting with Shannon Whitfield, Chairman of the Walker County Board of Commissioners. Thank you so much for meeting with us today.
Absolutely.
And we'll do this again sometime in the future. And when you can, come up here at McLemore and take a look at what's going on up here. Thank you and have a great afternoon.